I feel betrayed by the fact you switched to a see-through mug.
Hey, sucks to be you, I guess. Hold on.
I thought I couldn't use that as a cold open. You saved it, buddy. You saved it.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to Anime Club After Dark's movie reviews, a discussion detailing the good, the bad, and the downright ridiculous of anime movies. I'm your host, Alex, but you can call me Senpai. And joining me today, I have our poser extraordinaire, Natai.
It's good to be here with you, Alex.
It's good that we can finally do this because this is attempt number 2 to
This is
record
attempt
this
number
episode.
2. Last attempt went in a completely different direction.
Boy, and you know what? We have that recorded, and there's so much that we can't even use for clips.
There's nothing, bro. Like that. I don't even remember the last time we genuinely had a conversation that was like that out there. Let alone during the podcast. It was like, wow.
I mean, for context, for people who don't realize this and maybe haven't been around for a long time, when we do these recordings, we tend to, like, whether it's just two of us or, you know, all of us, or even if we have a guest on, we tend to, like, vamp for about 20-30 minutes before we actually start talking about what we're going to be talking about.
Sometimes even more.
You know, yeah, when I do my intro and we actually start the episode, we got to, like, the 3-hour mark and we still hadn't actually started last time we tried to record this.
And by the end of it, you're like, so do you still want to record? I'm like, man, I'm all riled up. I'm not in the best place to talk about Cowboy Bebop. You know, I know the show can be quite depressing, but this is not the depression I was looking for.
Yeah, but this
Speaking
is
of which,
yeah, this is Natai's choice for our next movie review. He chose the Cowboy Bebop movie, Knockin' on Heaven's Door. And yes, we will call it Knockin' on Heaven's Door, even though if you are a Western anime fan, you probably only know this as Cowboy Bebop the movie.
it's such a good title. It's
such a phenomenal title, and it's such a shame that they changed it. But I get why they changed it, because they were afraid of, like, copyright stuff, because they didn't want to be sued by Bob Dylan.
But it just fits both the movie and the show as a whole. Its aesthetic, it fits it so well, because, you know, the show is so like, music is such a big thing that is entrenched in Cowboy Bebop, right? So to have that as a title, it works so well. And for the movie itself, you know, it's a great fit. It's a perfect fit.
But yeah, this is the Cowboy Bebop movie from 2001, directed by our boy Shinichiro Watanabe. Straight off of the success of Cowboy Bebop in 98.
That young buck, 30 years in the business, mere 30 years in the business.
Yeah. Also, this movie was written by Keiko Nobumoto, who also wrote the scripts for the series. It was a co-production by Sunrise Bones and Bandai Visual. Which I think the original series was only done by Sunrise.
That was Sunrise, correct. That was Sunrise.
Yeah. Man, there's a name I haven't heard in a long time.
I mean, they're still around. Gundam,
and they're still around. Allegedly, they're doing that remake of Akira at some point.
I guess we'll have to wait and see.
I like how they announced that like 7 years ago, and then we've heard absolutely nothing since.
Listen. If Pluto finally released, I have faith that this might release as well.
Hey, eventually GTA 6 will come out too, just not this year.
Who thought it was gonna come out? Slight tangent.
Rockstar, because they announced it was gonna come out this year in October.
I don't know. So I don't have any like factual or actual anything to back this up. For the life of me, I thought it was crazy it was gonna release this year. I don't know why, but I had a sneaky suspicion it was gonna be either get delayed or just pushed to 2026.
Well, it definitely got pushed to 2026, but that's not what we're here.
Should have bet on it on the podcast.
Yeah, right. Well, I'll probably talk about it on the next WTF, which this will probably come out after that WTF. So check that out if you haven't seen that yet.
While we're at the credits, I'm gonna jump ahead and we'll circle back around to it. But I do want to we can mention that the music was done by Yoko Kanno,
The great
the
Yoko
goat.
Kanno. Actual goat.
Specifically the seatbelts,
Mm.
which is like the band that was formed specifically for Cowboy Bebop soundtrack by Yoko Kanno. So like
And they still perform.
they still perform it. Man, like there's been hours and hours and hours of interviews and like content and stuff you can look up in regards to the music in the show. But like the fact that that collaboration between Yoko Kanno and Shinichiro Watanabe, when it comes to like that back and forth of
Yeah.
her sending him music and he's changing scenes around to fit that music and her getting inspired, like it's a legendary collaboration. So
It is.
like
It's actually
the
one of
seatbelts,
probably. It's probably one of my favorite, and certainly one of the best musician director collaborations in the anime
for
sphere,
sure.
I think.
They've been working like on so many projects together as well.
I mean,
Like, and
it's that and Hayao Miyazaki and Joe Hisaishi.
sure, yeah, for sure, for sure. But
Those are like two of the most legendary musician and director collaborations in anime, bar
yeah,
none.
it's really cool to hear about those stories. So yeah, and so the seatbelts are back with Yoko Kanno for the movie. I guess we'll probably get around to talking about this, but both like the soundtrack as a whole, but the songs they created for this movie, man, I'll, I can gush about this soundtrack for ages, bro.
Yeah. Um, so this film was released in Japan on September 1st, 2001. So at least something good happened that month. I'm just going to put that out there. That's all.
Yeah,
Man, so fun fact about this that I looked up. Originally, the plan was to release this the following month in North America. For obvious reasons, that was a good idea not to do that.
with all the
because
airplanes in the movie.
This film does revolve around terrorism. I'm just
He's just dreaming, bro. He's just dreaming.
Yeah, yeah.
Just a dream, bro.
But yeah, that's crazy that this comes out in September of 2001, and then it's not good.
Honestly, I'm surprised that it was supposed to release right around the same time it was released in Japan. Like it was released it was supposed to release in the States right around the same time.
From what I found, I don't know if that was going to be like a wide theatrical release or one of these film festival releases.
I see.
So I wasn't able to find anything specific on that. I also wasn't able to find anything super specific about the budgeting for this. However, I can tell you that over its lifetime, it's only made a $3 million return at the box office.
Worldwide?
That's worldwide. Now, that doesn't include home video releases. Now, I do know that when this originally released on home video in the early 2000s, it did very, very well.
Gotcha.
On home video, but I wasn't able to find any concrete numbers for how well it sold on home video.
I see.
But I have to imagine it cost more than $3 million to make this.
That's crazy. But yeah, I'm honestly curious to see how well it did in Japan at least, because back then, like, so I wonder how massive Cowboy Bebop was in the West back then, because Toonami it aired after it aired originally, right? When did it air in Toonami?
Yeah, I don't remember
Toonami,
when it
rather.
first aired, like on Toonami and stuff here in the States. But it was big when it did. I want to say it was early 2000s when the series first aired, like maybe 2000, 2001. But like in the West, Cowboy Bebop has always been popular. I don't think it's as popular in Japan as it is in the West.
It's a very Westable show.
I've never gotten the sense that, in fact, I would say that about a lot of Shinichiro Watanabe's stuff, is that I don't think it's as popular in Japan as it is in the West. I definitely feel that way with Space Dandy. I feel like Space Dandy is way more popular in the West than it ever has been in Japan.
With Space Dandy, it's like a prime example because of when it's been released first dubbed in the States before it aired in Japan. So
I feel the same about Carol and Tuesday as well. I just feel like that got way more discussion like in the West than it ever did in Japan.
I do wonder how that turned out, because it was released on Netflix, and Netflix was also in Japan, quite in Japan. So
yeah. Well, maybe one day we'll do you will actually watch it, and we can do a new spoiler cast on it, because we did an old spoiler cast on it that you weren't on.
I need to. I honestly, so just a quick And we'll quickly know, like, Watanabe is one of my favorite directors. I love watching his stuff, and I have a lot of his shows that I need to watch. Definitely, Cow and Tuesday, one of them. Currently airing Lazarus. We'll see how that turns
Yeah.
out.
That's something I would like to do on the podcast, is just do a spoiler cast for all of his stuff and then
Oh,
do
yeah.
like a ranking.
Yeah, for sure. Speaking of, we mentioned dubs earlier. So
Oh
the,
God.
the dub the cast from the dub returns for the movie, and it's I this is the second time for
With
me
some
watching the
interesting
movie.
new additions.
Bro, some really interesting additions.
Commander Shepard herself is in this fucking movie. I completely,
so
because I'd watched this several times before in the past, but it had been many, many years. I completely forgot that Jennifer Hale is in the dub as Elektra.
she's quite good.
She's very. I mean, Jennifer
like
Hale is
her.
a great voice actress.
Oh, yeah, she's
not even
fantastic.
gonna lie. She's one of the best video game voice actresses out there.
She's great.
Who was the one person you kept pointing out? Oh, Darren Norris. Darren
Darren
Norris
Norris.
is the English dub voice for Vincent in this.
So Darren Norris, for those who don't know, you might know him from a little tiny show called I'm blanking on
Fairly Odd Parents.
Cartoon Network. No, Nickelodeon. What's the name of that show? Hold on, I got it written down. I came prepared. What are you talking about? Fairly Odd Parents. Yeah,
I
correct.
just said that. Fairly Odd Parents.
In confusion, I couldn't hear. And he's the voice of Cosmo from Fairly Odd Parents, which is insane when you think of how gravelly and sinister he sounds in this movie.
What do you mean, Wanda?
He's so good in this movie. I was shocked when I learned that he's like starting so many cartoons that I used to watch as a kid.
Yeah,
A lot of Cartoon Network
and also
Nickelodeon shows.
you also get to hear it's a bit of a cameo appearance, but you get to hear a cameo appearance from Mary Elizabeth McGlynn, aka the voice of the Major from Ghost in the Shell in this. And she's
so
very
cool.
early on in the show. There's a news report that's going on. She's the reporter.
That's so cool.
It's also worth mentioning that she was the ADR director for this dub.
I was about to mention that. So as this was my second time watching the movie, I couldn't resist the urge and I rewatched it dubbed. And I've never seen Bebop in Japanese, and I want to, but
I never have either. I have never in my life watched any bit of Cowboy Bebop in Japanese.
and honestly, that's a crying shame because I'm sure the Japanese dub is great, but like the English dub is just so right.
It's one of the best ever
so
made.
right.
It's right up there with Full Metal Alchemist. It's one of the best
Baccano.
English dubs ever made. And
Baccano, the
Oh,
best
and
English
Baccano,
dub
yeah,
in
for sure.
anime ever.
yeah, absolutely. I that's another thing
Phenomenal.
we should do a ranking on one day is English dubs.
We got John's take on it during the Secret Sci-Fi. But anyway, so yeah, I watched it dubbed again, and I'm so happy I did because I love this cast so much, man.
Yeah.
But yeah,
Yeah,
it's,
I could go on for hours about how good the English dub is and how well like everyone who's ever been involved with dubbing
bring their
Cowboy
A
Bebop,
game.
they're all great voice actors.
definitely it's again it just you like Steve Bloom will forever be Spike Spiegel for me, and I can't take that away from him.
Wendy
And
Lee will always be Faye Valentine.
like this entire cast is so even like. I love all of them. Even like the side, like you have the three old men that they show up in the movie as well, and all the time like being all cranky and stuff. Oh, back in my time, we did this and that, and they're so fun, and they're so much fun. And like this movie in general, and I think Bebop as a whole it's such a charismatic kind of show. Like all these characters, you're glued to the screen watching their interactions with each other, and just like they're living in this world, right? Like it's so electric.
Yeah, I mean that's one of my favorite things about not just this movie but Bebop in general is how like lived in the world feels, and I think you get a lot of that with the performances. Like mentioning the dub, I mean this is not an English part of the dub, but the fact that they do go to like the Moroccan town and like everyone is speaking Arabic, it's like what a great touch.
I love that. So I wanted to mention that the Moroccan street section is something that always stood out to me. I love Rashid, that witch doctor type of character. Like he's so again, like the mystique, because that's also something that Bebop delves into sometimes, like the mystique of like the energies of like the universe. You have like the Indian character, and in the movie you have Rashid, and it's like that sort of mysticism that like it like sprinkles every now and then. It's so fun, and it's so like you're glued to the screen watching it because it's just so much fun, and like it's so compelling as well.
Yeah, and it sells itself really well too. Like the place, like I said, the setting feels very lived in, and not just with the performances, but with how it looks. Like that when they go to the Moroccan town or Moroccan street, like that place feels very lived in. It
And
feels
I
kind of
love
run down. It feels like it's been
yeah,
there for a while.
because Bebop is very much like inspired by Star Wars with its take of like like future, but like very like used and like very
Used future, yeah.
used future and earthy, and like like everything is a bit, it's like a hodgepodge of stuff, and it's like things are mixed together like it's like
You can see the rivets and everything.
it's not slick, it's not clean, and so
It's like
and
the opposite of Star Trek. Star Trek is a very clean future. Star Wars very dirty future, used up.
it's so good. It's like I love the look of this universe.
Yeah.
And yeah, the
And
Moroccan Street is like a great section.
and
Because of
it's
that.
worth mentioning that the movie looks gorgeous. Like all that beautiful hand animated stuff. Oh my god.
Yeah. Great
Even after all
background.
these years, I mean, this came out in 2001, but of course it was animated after the series ended. And it still looks good. There's a very, very minimum amount of CGI. Like when they go to that arcade, that stuff is CGI and it looks fine. But
The sort of hacking like type of like the way they show
Yeah.
you hacking is kind of weird, but I like how it's like very, it's interesting how that's their take on like the internet, and like just like it's cool, with Ed's like cursor being a fish eating smaller fish, and then like
Yes.
decrypting stuff. It's weird in a good way though.
Yeah, exactly. I also love that there's a scene in this where they go to like a drive-in movie theater, which what an anachronism.
that.
We don't even really have those much anymore today.
I love that with Jet
And
being like the
they
old
actually
investigator.
took the time to create like an actual fucking movie
The Western.
for them
Yeah.
to be watching. By the way, did you notice while you were watching that it seemed very different from something that Watanabe would do? Like it looked a little different.
It looks a bit different. I saw during the credits like there was someone who was specifically like titled as like lead Western director, lead Western like storyboarder. I'm like, wait, so one guy kind of handled that a little bit?
Yes, that is Tensai Akamura.
Okay, I don't recognize
Um,
that name. I haven't looked him up
he-
though.
He has been the director. He was the director of the first season of the Seven Deadly Sins anime adaptation. And most recently, or far more recently, has been responsible for storyboarding My Hero Academia.
No shit. Oh, so Bones. Wait, Seven Deadly Sins was A1 Pictures, right? First season, if I'm not mistaken. Let me look that up real quick. Interesting. So yeah, I guess maybe like I from the credits again.
Yeah,
I
it is
assume,
A1.
Okay, but interesting that now he's back at Bones. Interesting, but I love that again. Like the detail, the amount of detail in this show, like and in this movie. It's so cool, and so like it
And you
just
know,
adds to the texture of the world.
that's not the only other director that Watanabe brought in to help out. So if you notice the opening sequence where they're like descending into Mars, that looks a little different too. That was done by Hiroyuki Okiura.
Are you talking about the opening like credits sequence with the music?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, that was directed by someone different than Watanabe, who most recently was the key animator for Mobile Suit Gundam: The Witch from Mercury.
No shit. That's see. That's what I like about.
And was also the key animator for Blade Runner Blackout 2022 and Your Name.
It's so cool to see how like he brought in all these very talented individuals who like became more and more prominent in the industry. Like I love that. And by the way, that opening sequence, holy shit, I love it so much. That song DNA.
It's funny to me about that because if it weren't for that opening sequence and the ending where you got like the little dogfight thing that's going on, you could 100% sell this as being taking place on
Earth. For sure. And I think that
you would have
that's
no,
what they were
if
going
you took
for.
those two things out, you would have no indication this is supposed to be taking place on Mars.
I bet that's like what they were going for as well, to sort of like make you feel like it's grounded in a somewhat close reality to our own, you know?
I mean, that's Watanabe himself has said that was the goal, because he wanted the movie to be accessible to people who hadn't seen the series.
And that's the thing I kind of nominated this movie, picked it for this episode, because I thought, it was a good excuse to try and get Shinoda to watch Cowboy Bebop, because it's pretty much a standalone
And yet he's not here.
And yet he's not here. Shinoda, where you been, Shinoda? You can run away.
I like how he has all the time in the world for seasonal isekai, but not
for Cowboy
Bebop.
But in general, that's also that's the biggest reason I picked this movie, because I know, like, even for people who haven't seen Bebop, it's a great opportunity to check it out and see if it's something they would like, maybe.
Which is why it's wild to me that it works as well as it does. Now, I will say you can watch this without having watched the series. I think you come away with a little bit more if you have at least some understanding of the characters and the general background of the setting.
Sure, but it also works to counterpoint. I think it also works as a good like appetizer. It's like, I want to know more about this Spike guy. I want to know more about Faye and Jed and Ed and this dog. Why do they have this dog? Like, what?
And it's amazing to me that it works as well as it does as a standalone, considering that this is neither a prequel nor a sequel. This movie, the story of this movie, takes place in between episodes 22 and 23 of the series.
Yeah, right before like the two-parter finale, which is like it's great.
It's amazing that they were able to fit this in there, and it works. It narratively works with the series,
like,
because there is a time gap between the 22nd and 23rd episode, and they never talk about what goes on during the time gap.
And it's also it works very well because like the show as a whole is, aside from like two-parters, it's episodic for most of its run. So this is just a longer episode, and also it works really well because they very smartly didn't like involve anything related to the Syndicate or like Vicious. It just works very well, and it gives more detail to the universe with Vincent's background and Elektra. And
I mean, the series Cowboy Bebop, if you haven't seen it, it's almost framed as a series of short films. That's Watanabe has said that was his goal.
Yeah.
Was to make a series of short films instead of like a single series, which, I mean, it really is a single series, but I get what he's going for there.
Like every episode is titled a session instead of episode, because it's almost like a different session for a different song, or like because it's jazz, it's great.
It's called jazz. Where was I going with this?
We're so like, just to close out the intro, that song DNA is the first of many great tracks on this that play during this movie. Like, if I would jump ahead to another, like, so you have not too long after, you have that scene of Faye taking off looking for that bounty hunter, and you have this track called Cosmic. Is it Cosmic Girl or something like not Cosmic Girl? That's the Jamiroquai song. I'll look up the name of the track also. But there's this really funky and boppy kind of track that plays that is like in the radio, and you see her like humming along to the song. It's like get this energy that, like, man, you don't get. That's the thing. I'm surprised you don't get a whole lot of like Cowboy Bebop knockoffs, because that style, that energy is something that you rarely see.
I believe the title of the track you're thinking of is "Pushing the Sky."
No, it's not. I'll look it up in 1 second. But yeah, I love that.
I'm looking at I'm looking at the track listing for the soundtrack, so I'm assuming it's going to be one of the earlier ones listed.
It's let's see. I got it. It's easy. Come on, I got it. I'm sure I can find it fairly quickly. Yeah, of course I am, bro. Easy. There it is. I'm sure I found it. It is called Cosmic Dare. I was close.
Cosmic Dare. Okay.
Cosmic Dare.
Damn, why is it so far down on the track listing if it appears so early in the movie?
Go if you want, like, bro, if you haven't even watched the movie and you're curious, just go look up Cosmic Dare, listen to it,
or go listen to the soundtrack.
It's so good, and you get, like, just from that section alone, you get like the energy, and I love the soundtrack, man. It's so good.
Yeah. Also, early on, we get that fucking fight scene in the convenience store. Like that's so well animated. Oh my
One of the best
god.
introductions to a movie, I think.
I want to tell you, over the years, I've seen a lot of AMVs that utilize footage from Cowboy Bebop. Now,
Yeah.
some of it does come from the series, but there is an overwhelming majority of clips that you see in AMVs that come from Cowboy Bebop that come from this movie
Because it looks so damn good.
because it's so cinematically done. Like there's
So
so many
smooth.
like non-standard anime like camera angles in this. Like it's done in a way where it feels like there's a physical camera there like watching the action. And I
Like a
appreciate
like
that
a
so fucking much.
it's a very well done, like, later on, like, you have the train fight scene, which is
Mhm.
amazing. It's animated so perfectly. It's but yeah, that intro, aside from looking beautiful, it's so, I'm astonished every time I watch it
Mhm.
and think about it,
Yeah.
how effective it is in terms of writing. Because you get this introduction to basically Spike and Jet, and
Yeah.
with so few dialogue lines and so few, like, expository lines,
Mhm.
you immediately get the sense of both Spike's personality, his sort of moral code, Jet's personality, their dynamic, what they're
And the
about,
setting.
what they're not about, and the setting. Like it's brilliant how, like, without even because we talk about it a lot, but how in anime sometimes, you know the characters will just speak their thoughts and feelings, and then you get shows where they're like show don't tell, and this movie does
Yeah,
it
because
perfectly.
there's not a lot of dialogue in this opening scene.
Bro, like, you get this, like, this very simple setup where it's like, oh, there's a store robbery, and Spike walks in and he's all aloof and he's all, like, playing supposedly dumb because he's listening to music in his headphones, and then they're like stopping him, and he uses and he uses, like, this, like, very silly even tricks to just, like, get one up over the robbers. And at
Mhm.
first he's all, like, aloof and he doesn't care, and then the robber's like trying to, like, he's threatening. It's like a hostage situation, and Spike supposedly is, like, being very cold about it. I like how the lady is like, "You son of a bitch." But like, but then you realize, yeah, he actually, like, he does care. He doesn't want, like, innocent people to actually get hurt if he can avoid it. Just how he's, like, he portrays himself, how he acts, to, like,
Yeah.
catch people off guard as well. But he's not an actual idiot.
No, he's not. Like you said, it's one of the best introductions to a character I think I've ever seen in an
I
anime
love
for
that scene.
sure. Um,
A
and
lot of
there's
also,
it's just great writing. It's because it does so much was comparatively so little. There's not a lot of dialogue. The action is just it's there, it's in your face, but you get a good sense in a very short amount of time exactly what this world is like, what these characters like, and what this story is going to be like.
there's a very famous, like, rule for writing where it's like, if you can remove certain words and lines, do it. Like, try
Yeah,
to express your ideas with as few words as possible to try to make it, like, convey it in the most effective way. And this movie does it wonderfully.
that's uh David Mamet, I think, who said that. It says if you can
He said
remove
that.
dialogue and huh?
Yeah, he said. I don't remember who originally said that.
I'm pretty sure it was David Mamet who said that, and I think the line is that he said was, "If you can remove something from dialogue and everything still stays the same, that means what you removed was useless."
Yeah, and you talked about, like, the animation, and I love how the, like, with Spike Spiegel, because he's obviously, like, influenced by Bruce Lee with his fighting style. I love how
Yes.
the animators just, like, go nuts and show off with him in
Also,
this
I want
movie.
to ask you in that scene in the train, that fight scene in the train. Not
Man,
specifically with the gunplay, but with the hand to hand stuff. As someone who very
man,
recently watched the tuning exams in Naruto, did you recognize some of that animation?
bro, like,
Because there's like genuine nods to it in that fucking.
that's crazy, bro. Like, I had never connected between it, dude. I didn't even think about that till you just said that. That's actually crazy.
I think it's the fight between Neji
Neji and Hinata,
and Hinata. Yeah,
which is one of my favorite
it
fights, by the way, so far.
it legit uses that fight as an inspiration
I
for
didn't
how
even
they
think about
move.
that. I didn't even think about that till now. That's crazy because it
It's
does work
great.
actually. That works in comparison, but it just looks so fluid. And again, I'm a sucker for like hand to hand combat in anime, and like you get the with the cinematography as well. Like you get the sort of like almost like fake shaky cam that works so well because you still capture the action and it feels so intimate and in your face, right? And every punch feels like, man, like if this Vincent
Well,
is like he's giving Spike a good run for his money, you know?
the good thing about how this is done, like the shot blocking and stuff, is that like when Spike or whoever the scene happens to be focusing on is in like a big open area, you get these wider angles, these wide shots. But when they're in like the fights in the train, like the camera, the shot is like right in the characters' faces, and you see the emotion, you see everything on their face, and it works so well. That's why I love the fact that Watanabe treated this as if there was an actual camera in the scene that he was drawing, and it's like, how do we fit it in that scene physically?
It's sometimes like they zoom out to show you like better view of the action from above, and it just again like it looks so smooth. It's like the animators nailed it, and I love the fact that because also in the show you sometimes get like really really good looking action scenes, but at this level it's like, man. And again, it's so creative because you have this like train going, and like Spike at first need to like get onto the train while the other train is coming in, and it's like it's so dynamic and it's so like exciting and intense, and it's so good.
I feel like if it were up to a lesser writer and definitely a lesser director, it would have just been a big dumb action sequence, and it's not here.
Definitely.
And it's definitely not done as a big dumb action sequence. I mean, yes, it is an action sequence, but it's a smart action sequence.
Yeah. Also, again, like it doesn't just like imbuing it like with style. Like I love Vincent's sort of like finding style where it's like it's like very like precise, very aiming for like specific points in your body to like lock you up, and it's like.
I also love how there's just a random person on the train that catches a stray bullet to the head for no reason.
That poor fella.
That poor guy.
That.
That poor guy did not. That. Jesus. That's also another thing, that the movie is at times somewhat violent.
Yeah, definitely. It's like it's also very, very disturbing. Even like Vincent's actual attack of like just squeezing your in your internal organs like that. It's very vicious, you might say.
Vicious.
Hey. But it's kind of dark, but again, like that fits the tone of the show because it just like all the rest of the characters, both also Vincent, he has this like issue with his past, but while our main cast are like characterized by most of them at least, except for Ed, running away from their past, he's a man who has no recollection for his past. That's like he's still haunted by it. And
how dare you forget Ein? How dare you forget Ein as a main
that
cast member?
poor little dog. That poor little depressed dog. Big ups for Ein.
Listen, we stand Ein here. Okay,
we stand Ein.
Can we talk about the story a little bit? Because that's one thing we haven't really gotten into. The story of this movie is not that complex, to be perfectly honest. It is very easy to understand, but it is fun.
Definitely. It's because it fits the formula. Like, so they're on Mars. They're down on their luck. They have no money for food.
Which is the MO for the Bebop crew. Let's be honest.
Definitely, Spike is bitching about, which I love. By the way, I love the instant noodles where they pull like this sort of like almost like grenade.
Oh my god,
pin.
I love that. Can we get that in real life, please? Can we get the cup noodles that got the pull tab that just heat them up?
And it just cooks the instant noodles. It's so fun. It's
in
so
like
cool.
5 seconds.
and they're like. And he's hungry, and they're like, okay, looking for bounties to get more money and eat, maybe. And yeah, again, as I said, it feels like just a long episode of Bebop.
Don't those look like the same noodles we had yesterday? They're the same noodles we had yesterday, and the day before, and the day before Spike.
So good. And of course Faye's like Spike is just lazing around, he doesn't want to do anything, and Jet is like looking for maybe some ideas, and Faye's out there in the field grinding and losing money on horse races, because of course. God bless her, my beloved.
You also see Faye's titties in this. I'd completely forgotten.
Some of them. But you finally get to see her wear a jacket. Oh, I dig it.
I mean, yeah, it's
that red
fine.
jacket looks great.
It's fine. But yeah, like the whole thing with the soldier who everyone thinks is dead, and then he's got like, I mean, he quite obviously has some kind of PTSD from what he went through.
But also because they imbued him with these nano machines, son.
I can't. Oh my god! Listen, I am so fucking internet brained now because when I watch this time, and every single time in the dub they say nano machines, so I go to that fucking scene in Metal Gear Rising where it's like
University
nano
of
machines,
Texas, right?
son.
Played college football, you know.
I am so internet brained now. It's unbelievable.
The world is influenced by Metal Gear Rising Revengeance, and I am all the more.
And I still haven't played it.
It's time,
all I
bro.
know
Let's
about
stream
it, all I know about Metal Gear Rising is the damn memes.
It's the most influential game of the 21st century, and no one will change my mind on it. Anyway, so the nanomachines they injected Vincent with basically turned him into this like perfect soldier. And while he was during the war on Titan, so basically, like he came out of that war.
Do you think
like,
there was an attack on Titan? That's
Sasageo.
I'm so sorry. That was terrible. I hate myself now.
I expected nothing less than you. Anyway, so basically after that, he like because of all the tests and the nanomachines and all of that, he lost his memory, and now he's haunted by like these like yellow butterflies he sees all the time, which sort of makes him question if like is he actually living in a reality or is he living in a different dream? Is he dead already? Is he not? He's like, and again, like while all of our characters are haunted by their past, like he doesn't even know what his past is, and he's like thus like sort of like questions his own existence because we are defined by our past. And I love that imagery of him on the battlefield surrounded by all these like butterflies. It's like that visual of the butterflies is I love that.
Which is crazy because a butterfly historically has represented change. Like in a lot of literature, butterflies are symbols for change.
But for him, it's like he's the exact opposite. He's in purgatory. He's in stasis. He doesn't like. He's neither here nor there.
He's knocking on heaven's door.
Hey. But yeah. So basically, he wants to like pretty much like spread this like virus to like the entirety of the city they're in on Mars and maybe even the world to pretty much like cause everyone to suffer from it and thus
on Halloween
die,
of all days.
On Halloween. Jack O'Lantern?
Wait, Jack. I know Jack. Jack O'Lantern.
That was so silly, that connection. Jack. I don't want Jack.
I do not want
Jack. I do not want Jack.
I don't know how that's going to sound in the recording, but
it's crazy we never did a podcast on Daily Lives of High School Boys, you know?
One day. I want to. But yeah, so like, is this a Halloween movie?
I think so. I think it works as a Halloween. You know, you got to be more of the creeps. Got to be more of like the what the fuck is going on. Got
a lot of jack-o'-lanterns
all around. You got Ed and Ein trick or treating, which was very cute.
Yeah.
I love the moment where Ed, Ed shows up.
Go for it. I know what you're gonna say.
Ed and Ein knock on this door, and this very How would you describe that man? That person?
Michael Jackson-esque.
God. Basically, I suppose prostitute man
was clearly very upset that Ed was not a young boy.
It's like, what are you? It's like, oh, I'm a girl. It's like, the fuck you are? Get the fuck out of here. And again, that goes back to like the character interaction throughout this film. Like everything is like it's so much fun. Like you hear, I love the banter between the crew where they're like, there's this moment where Ed is like, all right, Faye, try and profile this like guy you saw on the bridge, and she draw this very wonky picture of Vincent, and everyone was like, man, Faye, look at that, never took you much for an artist, man. They give her so much shit, and she has like the best expression in the world, and. We talk about Watanabe all the time, but his framing of some of these shots is like it's so perfect. Like that shot of her like doing this like kind of like wonky looking face to the camera while all the crew's like taking shots at her, and like I can watch this crew all day, all the time, man. They're so
Yeah.
entertaining.
That banter is so well written, and you know it's a carryover from the series, obviously.
Yeah.
But it works even as its own standalone thing, works so well because it's established very early on. Even when that early scene between Jet and Spike, I mean that banter between them is established like immediately.
Spike, damn it. They're so entertaining. Like one of the best like squads ensemble in anime, I think.
Yeah, I would say definitely one of the better. Ensemble might be kind of the wrong word because it's not very big.
Because it's a very small like cast. Yeah, that's true.
Like I think when I think of like an ensemble, a great ensemble cast in anime, I'm thinking of like La Squadra from JoJo's Part 5. Like that's a lot of people, and it's they're great.
What you think of Vincent and Electra as like the new characters, the prominent characters of this movie?
I wish we'd gotten more of them in the series, to be perfectly honest. Like I wish that there had been some kind. I honestly would love to have seen like a follow up to this with like, especially with Electra. Like I feel like she's cool. a great character that could have done well like with something else, down the road.
What was the quote? I sure love a woman that can kick my ass.
Yeah.
And again, that broom fight scene looks so good. It's such a well-animated sequence.
That's also something that's been memed to hell about this movie.
But it's so, and again, like it shows so much about Spike with so little,
I like that. There's also that audio. I think it's Steve Bloom has done since then, where he like redubs that line. Where It's like, I love a woman that can kick my ass. No, seriously, kick the shit out of me. I want to pee in my pants.
Nah, Electra is a badass. Like I love me some short haired badasses, and she's up there.
Have you seen our mascot?
Definitely. God bless Finn.
I love the character of Electra. I think it helps that she's voiced by Jennifer Hale, doing a phenomenal job. But yeah, I really would have loved to have seen more of that character and learn more about like her backstory, because that's one thing. I mean, we get a little bit of her backstory in the movie, but I feel like there's more there that could have been explored.
Yeah, definitely. But again, Bebop was always kind of like was very okay with leaving some of the details, the nitty gritty, to your imagination. Like they would tell you like a history of one of the characters, but they leave a little bit there for you to like, oh, wonder, and I love that. And I like that dynamic. Obviously, like I would have loved to see more of her dynamic with Vincent pre shit going down, and that definitely would have been something that I would love to see. But again, like as I said, leaving that room for your imagination to be like, what would have happened if? What were they like before? Everything went down?
The whole thing with like the war on Titan is something if I remember right, is also referenced somewhat in the series.
Yeah.
That's something I wouldn't mind seeing more of in Bebop, whether it's as an anime or maybe a light novel or something. Like they reference this a few times, and I'd like to learn more about it.
You had, what was his name from the TV show? You had in the two-parter, Jupiter Jazz was the name of the two-parter. You had I can't believe I don't remember his name, but you had that character, the saxophone player.
Okay, yeah, I know who you're talking about.
He had those things. So he was also, I think, during the Titan War, the War on Titan, I think, or was it a different war? I think, but yeah, you have all these like different lines connecting to all these different events, and I love it, and I love again that idea of like Vincent. Because, by near the end of the show, Spike talks about how, like, he's also kind of, like, questioning whether he's in a dream or not, because he's, like, stuck in the past to some extent. And you have the reflection of that.
That's the saxophonist.
Yes, Grin. Yeah. Grin, which is, like, he's a phenomenal character. I love his story. But, yeah, taking that idea and then taking Vincent as sort of, like, kind of like a reflection of Spike, who, just like him, like, they're sort of, like, in that purgatory type of state of like where they're at in their lives. It's cool. And then by the end of the movie, where they're like questioning, like you have that quote where the show always ends with, most of the time ends with, "See you, space cowboy." The movie ends, "Are you even in the real world?" Because that's like the question that Vincent asks during the movie, and to some extent Spike is struggling with in the show, where it's like, am I even living right now, or am I just like,
can I ask you
running
something?
away?
Have you ever seen the movie Blade Runner?
I have not.
Oh my God!
And
First of all,
I
go see
should.
it.
I need to figure out
100%.
which version though, because that's kind of confuses me.
The director's cut, please.
Oh, without a doubt. Okay.
Um. But that final fight on top of like the tower thing, that's so Blade Runner coded. It's unbelievable.
Really? I love that fight. I love the visual of like Vincent like towering over Spike while he's on the ground, and the camera zooms out. You see all the butterfly. It's so cinematic, man. It looks so good.
That final fight scene is so Blade Runner coded. It's not even funny.
And again, the music, like, it's so energetic, and you're in there, and you feel every hit, and it feels so impactful, and then you have, like, in terms of like the scenery, when the airplanes are coming in and spraying like the vaccine, basically as if it is like the rain coming in, and it's beautiful imagery, it washes away like this like terror that's like spreading throughout the
again
city.
Very Blade Runner coded. If you know how that movie ends,
I need to watch it. I will.
You really should. It's one of the greatest science fiction movies of all time.
Speaking of the end, the final track, knock a little harder. Gotta knock a little harder.
Mm-hmm.
What a banger! What an absolute banger, man.
I don't think there's any music in this that's like underutilized or bad.
Nah.
Like Yoko Kanno, again, absolute banger soundtrack again.
Nah, it's so, because again, it's back, like it feels so appropriate, it feels so right, and just like it adds, it doesn't detract, it adds so much to like the experience of watching the movie. I love this song so much. It goes so hard, and like I love how it, like, during it you see, like, because Bebop is so good at like portraying the world, how it like feels for regular people, like, the credits show all these locations you've been through the movie, which also, by the way, like, can we appreciate how some of the scenes like just show our characters traversing this like world, while Spike is like going to the Moroccan street, he's going through all these places.
There's some great establishing shots throughout this,
and even more than that, you like when Ed and I go trick-or-treating, they go past all these different streets, and when Spike, like, he's on his way,
there's so much detail in like the background and stuff.
When he's like playing, like when he's like fighting, quote unquote, this like kid, it was like trying to show him like his fighting skills. Like it adds so much character, right?
It does.
I love this fucking universe, man. I love it so much.
I legit wish, because you know how there's like universes out there where other writers and other directors have taken a crack at it, right?
Yeah.
I know this is Watanabe's thing. I mean, obviously he didn't write it, but he directed it, and it's kind of thought of as his. But I'd love to see other people's takes on the Cowboy Bebop universe. Could you imagine someone visions? Like, yeah, but could you imagine someone like Nisio Isin writing a story in the Cowboy Bebop universe?
Oh,
now I would love to see that shit.
That.
I would
because the show itself is like an anthology, because it's all these different stories about all these different characters, what they're haunted by, what they're like dealing with, and how our crew kind of gels with them, and it's
kind of like Monogatari. I'm just saying.
I suppose it's very different.
Monogatari deals with a lot of trauma, man.
Sure, but like it's I guess, but they're both very different in how they approach their storytelling.
By the way, I'm done.
I could tell when it's a see-through. I can't believe you took away my stand power.
Yeah, while we've been talking about this, I thought, instead of calling it Knockin' on Heaven's Door, they could have just called it Heaven's Door, but then they can't do that because that's a JoJo's thing.
Heaven's Door. Daga Kotowado. Anyway, I don't know where we were going with this, but this movie fucking rocks, dude.
Yeah, I mean, you were talking about how like there's so much character in the scenes between scenes.
Yeah.
And I agree. I 100% agree.
So
like there's so much going for for this movie. It's unbelievable. For something that ostensibly is, it's not a continuation, but what's the word I'm thinking of? It's an addendum to Cowboy Bebop.
I think it's a great way. I think it's a great way to look at the movie, and like usually I would recommend people to watch it after the show because it feels, if we would go with the terminology of the show, I think it's a great encore. You watch the show, you enjoy all these like characters. It's like a real well done album from beginning to end, and like you perform it live, and it's incredible, and you have a great time. The finale is amazing, and this movie is like a great encore, like one last like hurrah for this like cast, you know?
Yeah. I agree.
This is what this movie is.
Yeah. I really don't know if there's much else that we could say about it. I mean, it's
real quick. We haven't even talked about. It's not like really a major. It's not that important in terms of the story, the overall story. But we haven't even mentioned that the chase scene near the end of the movie looks phenomenal.
Oh yes,
like the chase scene Spike has with like these authority, I guess, like
over the plains of Mars or whatever.
It looks so smooth. Like the swordfish never looked this good in the show. It's so smooth.
I mean,
it
so always looked good, but not this good.
Like in terms of like the animation, that like, and again, while watching, it's like, man, like in terms of story content, like this chase didn't mean a whole lot, but it looked incredible.
If we ever do a spoiler cast for the Cowboy Bebop series, which we really should, at some point, when Shinoda gets off his fucking ass and finishes watching Cowboy Bebop,
stops watching Isekai.
Yeah. One of the things I definitely want to talk about is like, you don't see a lot of the like spaceships in Cowboy Bebop, because that's not what Cowboy Bebop is about. It's not about spaceships, all fighting and stuff. But for a sci-fi series that is about, going to different planets and stuff, and you have your spaceships, even though you don't see them very often, has some of my favorite spaceship designs ever in anything.
For sure. Like
I love the design. Like, I love the design of the Bebop so damn much. And you hardly ever see the outside of it.
And even the swordfish looks like that's how Bebop sort of started, with Sunrise approaching Watanabe and be like, we see all this boom with like all these original anime coming out, and we want to sell merchandise as well. You can do whatever you want as long as you give us something that we can sell as toys. And he did. It's crazy.
Yeah. Are there any like major drawbacks or criticisms of this movie? Because if so, I can't find them.
No, I think I think maybe near the end of the movie, it was kind of like, man, like how long we? It's almost 2 hours. But when you get to the end, it's almost like when you get to the actual like final showdown, it's like 15 minutes shy of ending, and like it's kind of, you can kind of feel it, but I still think it's a very well paced movie. Like maybe near the end, you can kind of feel like going and be like, okay, I'm kind of like, let's get through it. So I think near it kind of, it's not necessarily slows down, but you kind of almost exhausted near the end, but then it picks back up right before the finish, and I love the end in this movie. So like aside from that, it's just a great time. It's just a fun, solid, very competently made film. Like it's
a lot of the right people in the right places that made this film happen, for sure. I guess we'll end this by giving our scores. Natai, what do you give Cowboy Bebop Knocking on Heaven's Door?
I give it a strong 8, maybe like a weak 8, but still an 8 all around. Fantastic piece of filmmaking. Love it.
Okay.
Go watch it.
I'm going to be a little more generous, and I'm going to say it's an 8.5 out of 10 for me. It's bordering on a 9.
Yeah, just a solid movie. And again, if this is what it takes, and fun, and this is what it takes for people to watch Bebop, then awesome. It's just a great show and a great movie, and I love it.
Great cast, great director, great writer.
Great music.
God. Just watch it for the music alone.
So good. You just gotta knock a little harder.
Just gotta knock a little harder. Because you know what? You're gonna carry that weight.
We'll save that for the TV show Swallowcast that'll come in the next 30 years, probably.
Sometime in the next 30 years. But with all that being said, thank you everyone out there for dropping by to watch us talk about Cowboy Bebop Knockin' on Heaven's Door. Let us know down below what you thought of this movie. Do you think it's as good as we thought it was? Do you think there are issues with it? Let us know. We'd love to hear your take on this movie. Also, don't forget to like and subscribe if you like what you saw and you want to see more. You can check down below for links to all the stuff Anime Club After Dark does. We also have a link to our merch store down there where you can buy Anime Club After Dark merch if you'd like to support us that way. I get to choose the movie for our next movie review. I have not decided yet what it is. I have been asked if we can choose something bad to review. Maybe.
I'm worried, but I'm sure it'll be fine.
I maybe I'll choose something bad. Maybe I'll choose something
We've been reviewing only really good movies lately. It's been like, okay, let's get our hands dirty for now.
To be fair, I wouldn't call. We recently reviewed Summer Ghost. I wouldn't necessarily call that a great movie.
Fair. That's just fair.
It was an okay movie, but I don't think it was great.
Fair. Agreed.
But also, we just came off of doing a movie review for Princess Mononoke, so maybe your point is valid.
Yeah, definitely.
But I haven't decided yet. But one last thing before we sign off here. For these movie reviews, we do have a Discord server, which is, again, linked down below, where we tend to do watch parties for these movie reviews before they go out. So if you would like, and we also announce the next movie review before they go out as well, to give you all time to watch in there. So if you'd ever want to stop by and join us for a watch party for these movies we review, please feel free to join our Discord server linked below. But yeah, with all that being said, I have been your host, Alex, and we will see you next time. Say goodnight, Itai.
Good night, Itai.
Jazz.
Jazz. And that's why it's called jazz. Ah, shit, wrong anime.
No, the line is, and that's called jazz.
Jazz, man.
Da-da-da-da-da-da-da.
Could you imagine them like playing actual tank as the start of the movie? I would die. I would actually die.
It would have been funny if they did it at the very end.
Still would be better the live action version of tank.
Oh, fuck off. We're not going there.